speakers. Thank you very much again, Institute of Creative Writing, for inviting me. And I was a reluctant speaker really. I'm so sorry, Mercy, na makipot ako. The only reason was I believe that I may not be worthy of being someone to comment on your book. And but when I did decide, itinari ko na. So, Butch has mentioned perhaps the reason why I was invited. I indeed have a background in history. I did a lot of research in archaeobotany, improved a couple of methods. And if you scratch hard enough, I am still a historian. A lot of my philosophy of research really is grounded in the historiography portion of the study of the past. And I'm applying it in archaeology in many ways. And the book that is being commented on, fantastic book. I thought it was versus page 3, but no, it is the original research was for the masters. And it is deserving to be called a book on Philippine history, more on, I would say, the cultural history of the Philippines. I was thinking social, but I was Dr. Camagay's comments that made me realize, oh, if it's social, then it has to be much more synchronic in its analysis. But as mentioned by Dr. Camagay, it is more diachronic, and for the time scales of history, 100 years is quite a long time, not for archaeology. And that's where my archaeological hat comes in. And I wear two hats in this short comment that I drivel. So I took my watch off to remind me. Okay. The first thing I have to say, as a historian with a background in history, I mentioned that it is worthy to be called a history book, and as readable, can be read by the general educated public. It has those fantastic effort of MERS to create a workable appendix, writing all the medicinal plants, traditional ones, their function, and how they are prepared. And this comes now, later on, as an important point. I want to stress on this, but one thing about traditional medicinal plants is it always falls short when it comes to answering the question, what is the dosage? And that's connected to Dr. Caoili's comment, and that is the problem. What is too much? What is too little? That's always been a problem. The quantification, the dosage for it to be effective. And in many of the documents, it is not indicated for good reason. It is not uniform, and it is by word of mouth. The second important thing that I think I would like to underscore with its the format of and the layout, the flow of the book. It starts with a philosophical discussion of how traditional is different from what is introduced by Western medicine, and then it goes on the accounts, and then it goes on explaining how they're medicinal, and hits all the right documents. But like what Dr. Camagay said, the problem is heavy on the 19th century and the early 20th century, and very scarce in the 16th century, for good reason. There are hardly any documents that you can rely on, and the accounts are not very good. But this is way after the book was written. In recent years, quite like in the last 2 or 3 years, the beauty of research, there are new documents coming out. This is very promising for the younger researchers, especially history. And I'm sure you've heard of Felipe Pardo. He was the Archbishop of Manila, and new documents of his report. 70 years after Magella, Legazpi, Clubber, Manila, and then occupied Manila. 70 years or 7 decades at least after, the Spaniards were alarmed that in the Tagalog region, specifically in Cavite and Batangas, they were still practicing idolatry. I need to say the people were still practicing the old beliefs, including medicine, and and he documented this, like a transcript, and wrote a hefty report that hasn't even been transcribed properly yet. Professor Potet did some cherry picking of the document, but indeed it shows what I like about the main thesis. I think that is very useful for me in my comments of Merce saying that, well, the reason why there's a persistence of traditional medicine until the 20th century, perhaps, is because that we quote this, the persistence of traditional medicine and healers is correlated with the lack of colonial infrastructure to service the Indians. And so there's that correlation. So the vacuum created by the lack of infrastructure, which means practitioners, hospitals, etc., all throughout, maybe from the 16th to the late 19th century, and by that time, as Dr. Camagay mentioned, there are already hospitals, there were public hospitals being built, and services are initiated by the Spanish, but too late. So there's room for the existence of traditional medicine and healers. I agree with that. And that is further supported by documents that are coming out that shows the existence of these healers, ritual specialists that persisted. I will, however, add that the persistence of traditional medicine healers is also correlated with, and I think this is that I have. I wrote a few paper with Luisa sometime a few years back. It's called Bakit Nawala ang Pangasi sa Katagalugan. Pangasi is the drink or rice wine that you put in a jar and then you sip it with a straw, with a reed straw, and it's part of rituals. And then we found it in the San Beneventura dictionary, Tagalog Spanish dictionary, and it is in Tagalog. So there is Tagalog for this rice wine. It's called Pangasi and Pangasi, the drinking process, and it is connected with rituals, very much connected rituals. And of course, for the Tagalogs, they're the Catalones. And the Catalones totally wiped out in the consciousness of the Katagalugan, not 70 years, not in the 16th century, in the 17th century and 16th century they were still around. And the reason I think for that is because the Christian, Judeo-Christian tradition came in and totally replaced all the functions of the Catalonia. From the rituals of getting in touch with the church, from the actual physicality of sacred spaces like caves, and the house of the elite of the datu or the head of the community that extends his house, and the wings are like simbahan, and caves are called pasimbahan or simbahan, and the Spanish chroniclers, they documented all of this. These were all replaced by stone churches that looked like and felt like caves. And as soon as you have a stone church, they all go to the church. If it's a bamboo church, a wooden church, nothing happens. They still go to the caves. But when you have a stone church, they go to the church. So it's not related to demographics. When they change churches to stone, I think it's related to effectivity of the space as a ritual space. And then, of course, the priest took over all the functions of the Catalonia, in opposition to the phenomena or the historical experience of a lot of the Visayan cultures and the indigenous groups that were not totally Christianized or were late in the process of being converted into Protestantism. The Mumbaki survived, the Baylan survived until today, the 20th century and 21st century. The reason why they did, there was no comprehensive conversion of all the functions of the ritual specialists who were also healers. So I think that would be an add-on to that kind of analysis on top of the structural weaknesses. But I'm sure Merce meant by that is the structures are not just physical structures, but the colonial structures, but also mental structures. So, that is the history hack. I take that out. As an archaeologist, I would say everywhere we dig, and we get botanical remains, and we do it purposefully by wet seeding, the most common thing that we come out across Southeast Asia, especially in Southeast Asia, are canarium nuts and fragments of the wood. Canarium is the species, is the genus of Pile. And all canarium species are aromatic and are functional in many ways in terms of medicine. Merce cites Alcina in two places and explains in details, page 30 and 33, how Alcina has under collector's items, before that, Pile as medicine for swollenness, Pile for Canarium Blanco, this is the important thing. Aside from the medicinal part, the sap of the Pile itself, as you broke it, it has a dikapan dapta. Inoculate the dapta, and then they put it on a leaf, like a palm leaf, and then they burn it, and it is a sweet scented when distilled, and then they use it as oil for lights. And a lot of our sites have this. We have the canarium nuts, we have the canarium. So I said, this is good. And the most important site is the site called Pile. It's a cave and rock shelter. And the rock shelter, we get it there. Were they preparing it to enter the cave for ritual purposes? Or were they preparing it for other purposes cited in the Malay Peninsula? We see it in southern China. In southern China, they use it as dross. So it's the olfactory part. In the Malay Peninsula, they also use it for olfactory. Were they using it for lighting? Or they were using it to create an atmospheric sense of rituals that they were doing in those sacred spaces. So, I think both. I think all of this, all of the above, and the medicinal part. And so that means that we can push something like the canarium species as medicinal, as functional, not only up to the 16th century, but at least for the last 4,000 years in our deep history. And so, last point, as I mentioned, one thing that really resonates in my mind, and I'm a believer in this, there's no basic research that goes stale. And I'm saying this because I have a basic research that I want to publish, and it's 25 years old. This is not 25 years old, but you can see that once it gets published, what Planta did was she polished it further, updated it up to the last point. But then the UP Press and all of her friends said, stop. It's time for you to get it out. And she had to stop. And move on to worms and ringworms and all that, one of her research interests. Again, I have many other things to say, but I hope I did not dribble too much. Thank you very much.